Pisces, Aries, Cusp, welcome in, beautiful souls. This reading feels like standing between two versions of your life at the same time. One path keeps asking you to stay where it's familiar, and the other keeps calling your soul forward, even though you can't fully see what happens next. And Spirit keeps saying that the decision that you make between now and the next few months changes far more than you realize. So let's look deeper into the energy that's on the table here. Dive really deeper into the energy surrounding this crossroad energy. Now, the oracles we're using here, for those of you that are interested, is the Shaman Oracle. And the first card is Sweat Lodge. Now, the oracles that are here coming through for this crossroad energy is actually quite incredibly deep and spiritual. This doesn't feel like small surface level decisions. It feels like a soul season, a shedding season, a rebirth season. So this card's also got 49 on, which breaks down to a 9. So 9 could be 54 could be a significant age. Perhaps the number 9 could be significant, could be a life path number. It could be a month. It could mean something to, perhaps it's a synchronicity as well. And the energy that I'm getting off here immediately, that Spirit is saying from the Sweat Lodge, is it's like showing me that many of you have already been sitting inside some sort of emotional discomfort for a while now. Some of you have been grieving an old version of yourself. Others of you have been trying to hold it together regarding situations that your spirit quietly outgrew months ago. All right, this could even be the energy of coming from the year 9, right? Last year was the year 9. This is the year 1, all right? Take what resonates, beautiful souls. There's this feeling of emotional exhaustion here, like your soul has been sweating out old identities, old fears, old attachments, old habits, perhaps even old timelines. It almost gives also this energy of God's waiting room almost, okay? And what's powerful here is this card I'm hearing is not punishment. It's not punishment energy. I feel like this is purification energy. I'm also hearing that what Spirit is also coming through here is that you're not falling apart. You are actually being spiritually reformed. Now, some of you Pisces, Aries, Cusp souls, this crossroad may also involve relationships. For others, it could be career, it could be purpose, it could be moving, it could be finances, it could be creative paths, or finally choosing yourself after constantly abandoning your own needs. But the deeper message here is that life is trying to initiate you into a new version of yourself. And that process has, perhaps I'm feeling like, felt really emotionally intense, because a part of you is still attached to who you used to be. And the Sweat Lodge, it does also talk about second chances, but not in the way people think, all right? This feels very much like Spirit is saying that you are not being given another opportunity to choose different this time. You are being given another opportunity. You are being given another opportunity to choose differently this time. So all right, to perhaps I'm hearing stop repeating cycles, to stop shrinking yourself, to stop betraying your intuition, to stop settling for emotional survival when your soul wants expansion. The Andine cross, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Number 2, it could also again be a life path number. It could be a month. Next year will also be the year 2. All right. It even could be somebody else's life path number. All right. Like the life path 9, 2, 7. So it could be yours or somebody else's, or these could just be the 9s, 2s, the 7s these could also be number synchronicities that you have been seeing as well. All right. Color red could be very significant, as well as orange and yellow, like that sacral root energies as well as coming through here. Now, with this card, I feel like this is where this whole reading becomes really important regarding timing, okay? Because what I'm hearing now, Spirit saying is a major shift is coming, but do not force what is not fully aligned yet. So some of you are feeling pressure to make immediate decisions out of fear, loneliness, maybe impatience, maybe it's panic, or maybe emotional overwhelm. But this card is also reminding you that divine timing does matter just as much as the action does, all right? So what I'm hearing here is do not confuse urgency with alignment. So the crossroad energy feels less about impulsivity, jumping, and more about spiritually preparing, about listening carefully, about recognizing when the universe opens the true doorway versus when is anxiety trying to push you into permanent movement. So some of you already know deep down what path your soul wants, but there's still a bit of a fear around stability, uncertainty. This could be about money, endings, or whether you truly ready. Interesting. I just got a channel, another channel coming in, that some of these numbers 9, 2, and 7 could be your house numbers in your chart, your birth chart. So something about to do with your second house in your birth chart, your 9th house, and your 7th house. All right. Again, remember, take what resonates and leave the rest. All right. And I just saw the timer went on to 7. All right. What Spirit's also saying here is that some of you are standing at the edge of a doorway. All right. Some of you are really standing at a doorway, one foot still behind you, one foot trying to move forward. So that's the energy here. And what is really beautiful here, when we look at the bottom of the deck, the child. Because under everything here, all right, there's still this heaviness underneath all the maybe overthinking, some of you, underneath the fear of making wrong decisions. I'm hearing that your soul actually wants freedom again. That your spirit wants to feel alive again, creative again, hopeful again, curious again. So the child energy says that some of you became so focused on surviving that maybe you actually forgot what joy even feels like. So what Spirit is saying here is the next 6 months are not just about changing circumstances. They're about reconnecting with yourself. There's a huge message here about releasing self-punishment, that some of you keep replaying maybe old mistakes, heartbreaks, old missed opportunities, guilt, old timelines that just didn't work out. And the oracle energy is saying that you're allowed to begin again. And honestly, my Pisces, Aries, Cusps, this reading feels like a major soul reset. Not overnight, not instantly, but spiritually, emotionally, energetically, something is preparing to shift. And looking at the oracles before we dive into the tarot here, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to look at where you currently are, what happens if nothing changes, what happens if you finally choose differently, and perhaps what is Spirit truly, what do they truly want you to move forward move towards over the next 6 months. So let's dive in, beautiful souls. I feel like your current energy, being the Queen of Cups here, is powerful because this tells me that many of you already know deep down what your soul is feeling, but you may not fully trust yourself yet, I'm hearing. Like this Queen of Cups, she has angel wings, all right? And it feels incredibly like intuitive. It feels sensitive, spiritually connected, emotionally aware. Some of you have been receiving signs, dreams, synchronicities, repeated thoughts, emotional nudges. And it feels like your intuition has been trying to guide you towards a deeper truth for a while now. But at the same time, this energy can also become emotionally overwhelmed when too much is being carried internally. And I think that's what Spirit is showing here, that a lot of you are standing in a space where your heart already knows something needs to shift, but your mind perhaps keeps trying to emotionally negotiate with situations that actually no longer fully align. Some of you, this is like staying emotionally available to people who only meet you halfway. For others, this is going to be a reminder. This is, for some of you, this is remaining in environments that drain your spirit because they feel familiar. For others, this is constantly choosing emotional safety over soul expansion. This queen, she has angel wings. So Spirit is like really emphasizing that you're not disconnected from guidance right now. I'm hearing that your intuition is actually very strong right now. It's stronger than ever. But many of you perhaps are doubting what you already feel because the next chapter does feel uncertain. We cannot know everything fully in the future, all right? We can get hints, we can get some tarot readings, but timelines always shift, but we don't always know what's next. And this is where this leads directly to justice here. For if nothing changes, this energy is really intense because justice here feels like repeated karmic cycles continuing until a real decision is made. So you can see she's holding her sword downward, which feels important here that Spirit is showing delayed action, avoidance, knowing something internally, or maybe postponing the truth. So my beautiful soul, my Pisces, Aries, if nothing changes, I feel like the next 6 months is going to become emotionally heavy in a different way. I'm hearing not necessarily chaos, but emotional stagnation. Like the kind where you slowly start realizing, I cannot keep pretending this still fulfills me. Like a justice here is showing consequences, but not as punishment. It's more like life eventually reflects back the choices we avoid making. For some of you, perhaps if you stay in situations out of fear, like fear of starting over, fear of disappointing people, fear of instability, a fear of being alone, a fear of making the wrong decision. Spirit is saying here that the emotional imbalance does continue. I also feel like this card is heavily around some sort of exhaustion from carrying relationships, jobs, responsibilities, or emotional burdens that were just never meant to rest completely on your shoulders. Because justice, okay, it isn't a major arcana, all right? This crossroad I'm hearing is not random. This feels actually fated. It feels important, life-altering in some way. But I feel like your breakthrough here with this Nine of Swords, which is quite surprising, the Nine of Swords, because at first glance people will think this is a negative card, right? Nine of Swords, anxiety, stress, worry. But spiritually, this feels like an awakening, because Spirit actually is showing me that if action is taken, many of you actually finally stop suppressing what's been haunting you internally. So this actually feels like facing fear directly. Those sleepless nights, the overthinking, the anxiety around the what if, the mental spirals, the emotional pressures. So some of you are more afraid to change in your imagination than what the reality would actually become. So what Spirit is saying here, the fear has already been consuming your energy. For some of you, this is like taking action. Some of you taking action actually is going to bring emotional release because you stop living suspended between two worlds. You stop waiting. You stop emotionally circling. You stop carrying uncertainty every day. And weirdly enough, the difficult decision becomes the beginning of peace because clarity replaces it. I'm also hearing here that the anticipation has been heavier than the transition itself. So Spirit's guidance here was we have the Eight of Swords, which is quite fascinating because Spirit is not telling you to recklessly leap. They're actually asking you to recognize where you've perhaps been mentally trapping yourself. What really stands out here is she has got one sword in her hand. So I feel like you already possess more power than you actually realize. Even the ocean behind her feels like freedom. Like even I feel like this is a large sun. You could say it's a moon, you could say it's a sun. To me, in this card, it feels like the sun. Which feels like illumination, awareness, truth coming to light. What I'm also getting at, Spirit is saying here that your biggest obstacle may not actually be the path. It may actually be the story that you keep telling yourself about why you cannot take it. So my Pisces, Aries, cusps, souls. Some of you have convinced yourselves you're stuck because you've been surviving in some sort of survival mode, in some sort of emotional patterns for so long. So I feel like what this card is actually saying here is the prison door was never fully locked. I feel like the next 6 months feels deeply connected to a mental liberation. Changing your relationship with fear, changing your relationship with self-worth, changing your relationship with uncertainty. And then underneath all of that, we do have the Two of Pentacles, which confirms exactly why this crossroad has been feeling exhausting. Because many of you, all right, have been spiritually, emotionally, mentally juggling two realities at once. A part of you wants stability, a part of you wants freedom. 10 of Cups. A part of you wants to hold on. A part of you already knows it's time to release. A part of you wants guarantees. A part of you knows growth requires trust. And Spirit is showing like this image here of trying to balance everyone else's needs while your own soul waits in the background asking, but what about me? The powerful thing here, my Pisces, Aries, cusps, is that this reading says here that you actually never were actually trapped. It said that you're standing at a choice point. And those two completely different energies, that's two completely different energies. Like one says there is a way forward, right? To your, to balance. To ultimate happiness and fulfillment. Yeah, so one, there's no way forward. The other says there is a new path. But eventually you must decide whether fear or alarmment gets to lead you to your next chapter. And where you want to go is to balance and harmony to ultimate wish fulfillment. I actually hear that the moment that you stop abandoning yourself, your timeline begins to shift. Perhaps you can comment and share with your brothers and sisters, what are you finally ready to release? Because your soul really knows that this crossroad was never meant to punish you. It was actually here to awaken you. So beautiful souls, I'm sending you so much love and light. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hitting the like button, leaving that wolf emoji or the blue heart emoji, and I'll definitely check you around in the next one. Again, double twos could be significant, extra confirmation for someone. Double nines could be significant for somebody as well. Double twos, double nines. The 8 energy could be significant as well for someone. And I did talk about the number 7 as well. Perhaps some of your birthdays on the 22nd of March. Doesn't have to be. Could be just extra confirmation. Beautiful souls, I'm sending you love and light, and I'll check you around in the next one.